Hello, good afternoon. And what time is it? Can somebody tell me what time is it? Here in Florida, it is 2:59 p.m. And but that's not the time I was looking for, not the literal time. I was looking for what time is it? It is time to answer the question, who am I? There's a quote by C.G. Jung which says, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you." Let me repeat that. The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. Do you want the world to tell you who you are? Do you want the world to define you? Do you want the world to stereotype you as they have done to many of us, to our people? Or do you want to tell the world, this is who I am, because you know who you are? It took me a long time. It took me years of trials and errors and making mistakes and getting up again and thinking and looking at my weaknesses and trying to figure out, it was like a maze or a puzzle. It was difficult because I really don't know who I was when I was younger. Actually, even up to age 40, I really didn't know who I was. And to some extent, I was allowing the world to tell me, "Oh, Abigail, you're an introvert. Oh, Abigail, you don't have much to offer. Oh, Abigail, you're shy. Oh, Abigail, you don't speak much. Oh, Abigail, you have a chip on your shoulder. Oh, Abigail, oh, Abigail, oh, Abigail." And sometimes, it's like, I don't even know who I am. So maybe you are right. I am all those things that you said I am. Um, but as you go through life, and if you're someone that, like me, when situations happen, you step back, then you kind of learn a lot about yourself. And sometimes the answer's already there, but you didn't know because you weren't told. And in my case, my first and middle name, told me a lot about who I was. My parents, when I was born, they named me Abigail Onika. Onika, I run from it because this represented my black heritage, which I, for years when I was younger, never embraced it because I did not understand the power. Um, and so I ran from it. And actually, it was only last year that I really started to embrace my name, Onika. And you'll be seeing more of that name because now I realize that, and I'm not saying last year is when I started to really embrace my black. I don't want to use my, not black, because black is a color, and I am trying to get away from those terms, black and white and brown and yellow and all these different colors that they give to us as human beings. We are first and foremost human beings. We're not a color. That's the first thing. And we're not a race. That's number two. These were all things that were man-made and placed on us. Um, and so I'm trying to move away from, oh, I'm black. No, I am not black. I am African. I have an African ancestry running through my veins. Black is just a color. I'm not that. None of us are that. So let's just kind of just let's wipe that out. Get away from it. Who wants to stick with other colors to identify themselves? That is fine. But as a person, with African roots in my veins, that is who I am going to acknowledge myself to be. So when I was when as a whenever my parents named me, when I was either in the womb or when I came out, I don't know when they decided on the name, but they gave me the name Abigail, which means a father's joy. I knew that from a long time, and I've always try to ensure that the things that I do in life, the decisions I make, from the day I realize the meaning of my name, I try to do things to bring joy to my parents because they saw me as their joy. Um, but then, like last year, I said I really stopped and, as I was going through a journey of identifying and understanding my people, the struggles, but not just the struggles, who they were before they were sold or stolen or placed into slavery. And this is a journey my husband and we've been going through. He's been going through it longer than I have. But it's really eye opening, it's really enlightening, because most times you're not really taught the full story. You won't hear it on mainstream media also. You won't hear it you won't see it in your textbooks. Who we were prior to slavery, who our ancestors were prior to slavery. But you have to do your research, you have to do your deep dive. And I know sometimes it's difficult because you're accustomed, you've been placed in this box and the box is warm and cozy, and you just, it's like, you know what? I don't even want to know much about that. Yes, we were slaves. Our ancestors came, whether it's the West Indies or the Caribbean or South America or North America or wherever it was. Or for those who wherever in the world they they made us they caused us to become slaves, to do their biddings, and but our story didn't begin there. Our story did not begin there. We were always a royal people. But the one thing I've come to realize is, to make yourself great, you have to step on somebody. To make yourself great, you have to diminish somebody. If greatness doesn't step on others, greatness doesn't diminish. Greatness is just greatness. Royalty is just royalty. You don't make yourself royal. You're born royal. You can gain wealth, but royalty is what runs in your veins. And unfortunately, we were not taught that we were royal. And so today we're living in a world that tells us this is who you are. You are a second-class citizen. You are nobody trying to be somebody. I am not a nobody. I was never a nobody. Even when I didn't know, I didn't even identify with my African roots. I was never a nobody because royal blood was running through my veins. I will never say I am a nobody and something or somebody is trying to make me somebody. I may not know who I am at a point in time, but I was never a nobody. And you don't ever think of yourself as a nobody. You are somebody. You have always been somebody. You may just be trying to navigate to figure out who you are. And I pray that each of you are able to figure that out, because you will see the power that you have. You'll stop settling for the little drop-ins that people give to you. I've read this quote. It says, "The world will ask you who you are. And if you don't know, the world will tell you." Let me repeat this again. This is powerful. The world will ask you who you are. And if you don't know, the world will tell you. That quote was by C.G. Jung. Very powerful, and it's so true. I see our people, I'm not saying everyone is like this, but I see some of our people just, it's like, this, whatever the stereotype is, they just is like, okay, this is who I am, accept it. For many of us who grew up in the 70s, what type of movies were you looking at? Have you ever seen yourself in roles of kings and queens and royalty? No. You are always somebody's servant, or you're always in some gang, some drug related something. You're always it's some criminal activity. And unfortunately, some people believe that is all they're worth. That's all they are. They're a nobody. And the other unfortunate thing is because nobody poured into them. Nobody told them that you are somebody. You are worthy. It's in your blood. It's in your DNA. No matter what people tell you, you're greater than this. And so that's basically my message today. Who are you? Because if you don't know who you are, the world is not shy to tell you who you are. And they don't want to tell you anything good about you. They'll tell you that you're no good, you're nobody, you're worth nothing, you're maybe a human, maybe not a human, don't know if you're a human. They call you black, which is a color. Don't let the world do that to you. Don't. You are precious. You are worthy. You are somebody. And I would just ask you to just sit and think about it. Look at your name, the names that your parents give to you. For those whose parents put thought into the name, you'll see there was a message there. My name, Abigail. It means a father's joy. My father is exalted. My middle name, Onika, which I didn't embrace when I was younger, but I embrace it today. So sometimes you may not even hear me calling myself Abigail. You may hear me use the name Onika. It's Ibu. And it means warrior. It also means who is greater than God. Onika, Ibu, means warrior. And also who is greater than God. And so sometimes we already have the stepping stone. Look at our names. Examine our names. Get the history of our names, because that's the stepping stone. And then you continue to figure it out as you go along, but never accept the stereotype. Never accept what the world tells you that you are, because the world don't want you to be anything other than they say you should be. For too long, I've seen my people suffer because of ignorance. I've been there, so I can say it. I can use the word ignorance because I've been there. I was once there. But until I started to really study my history, I am so thankful for my husband. And I'm so thankful for my dad, because that's the path he's been on for the longest while, but I've never actually embraced it before. I mean, I've started this about 2 years ago or so, and I am so happy because the freedom that you get in it in actually knowing who you are, the joy, the oh my gosh, I never knew this, the light bulb moments. It's phenomenal. What time is it? What time is it? My people, what time is it? It is time to start figuring out who you are. Because if you don't, the world will ask you who you are. And if you don't know, the world will definitely tell you who you are. Have a blessed evening.